What's good, everybody? It's KJ, and I am here to give you my TBA Week 6 team builder for, we're playing Clay and the St. Kilda Keldios. So, his team is comprised of Scizor, Rotom Wash, Metagross, Aerodactyl, Drapion, Cradily, Mega Altaria, Volcanion, Hatterene, Mienshao, and Mudsdale. So, very, very, very good player. I think he was undefeated in the regular season of TBA Season 2 last year. He was also, I know he's undefeated in a different league, and he's currently 3-2 in this league, and he has a solid differential as well. He's +8. So this is kind of the last hurrah for this team. We need this win, and just kind of, if we get this win, then we got to take it kind of week by week and go from there. Otherwise, season's kind of over. So, kind of hope for the best. So yeah, we did make one other change or one other transaction. We made a trade. Good buddy Rick took over for somebody in TBA, and he was actually interested in Jirachi. So we did a swap, Cortana for Jirachi, and then TRT, being the kind soul that he is, used one of his transactions and actually traded us Musharna for Go-Go. So we are able to keep the psychic type and make sure that we still have that fighting resist, especially because now we are very, very weak to fighting with Crook, Kartana, Porygon, and Togedemaru. So, just in general, want to make sure that we can patch that up with some more good. Oh, and Kabutops, yeah. Want to make sure we can patch that up with some good fighting resists and immunities. So, the Banette pickup was huge. Not Porygon. Togekiss and Crobat both are 4x resists. And Musharna is also a resist. So, yeah. But enough about that. So the current state of the team is kind of known. Let's get into the team that we're bringing for Clay. So first Mon, Mega Banette, Frisk, which is nice because we'll get to see an item. Thinking this could be a lead, not entirely sure, but I mean everybody kind of knows what this thing does. Like it hits very hard. It's got a when it's in Mega, it has a base 165 attack stat. It gets Prankster as well, so you've got things like Prankster Destiny Bond. We're running Pain Split here as a somewhat of a means of recovery. So we've got Prankster Pain Split. We also have Sucker Punch for priority, and then the last move is Shadow Claw. So Shadow Claw ideally is going to be hitting his Psychic Weak Mons, Metagross and Hatterene specifically, but it's still just like big damage in general. The Sucker Punch is nice because we can sort of potentially get some damage on things and hit them first, so that's always good. And Destiny Bond, like the Prankster Destiny Bond, like if we can predict like him using a move and then kind of bait a Mon into making Banette faint, then that Mon goes down as well. So, I mean, that's making it a 5v5, but in this particular matchup, that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially if something in, say, his Volt Turn core goes down with Scizor or Rotom Wash, because Clay is very much a momentum player. He likes to have that momentum. He likes to be able to pivot. He likes to be able to kind of predict what's best to switch into, etc. So, got to try to make sure we can slow him down as much as possible. All right, so second Mon on the team, we got Crobat. Shout out to Primal and Bubba. They've been wanting me to bring Nasty Bat for since they told me about it, and they thought that I was bringing it versus Bubba. So since early week 3, they've wanted me to bring it. Finally going with Nasty Bat. It hits a ton of Mons on his team super effectively. going Expert Belt just to get the extra super effective damage. But yeah, so the speed is to outspeed Jolly, max speed Mienshao. We're switching out of Aerodactyl every time on this thing, so we don't need to potentially chance a speed time. We've got a little bit of bulk, so that's nice. But yeah, Nasty Plot, 3 attacks, Giga Drain, hits Rotom Wash, mostly Rotom Wash as well as Mudsdale. Those are the two big things that hits. We've got Heat Wave, which is hitting Scizor, it's hitting Metagross. It's hitting Credillia, but not super hard. What else? It hits Hatterene. And then we have Sludge Bomb, which is hitting Altaria, or Mega Altaria. It's hitting Volcanion, not for super effective damage, but and it also is hitting Hatterene hard. So yeah, I think that's one of the big things, is making sure that if we do set this up, then it hits, like, make sure that if we do set this up, then we can kind of just like have some of the big threats and things that resist the moves out. Also gonna try to bluff having like Air Slash or a Hurricane or even Brave Bird, just because like Mienshao could come in and pressure this thing a little bit with probably a rock move. So yeah, just trying to make sure that can effectively use this, set it up in the right situation. More ideal is probably a late game setup, but see what happens. So next, got Porygon 2, so rocking with a Recover Ice Beam Thunderbolt Teleport set. So Teleport ideal because we have a lot of... We have two setups, 2 mons that are setting up here, as well as the Cortana, which you'll see in a bit. And just being able to have a slow pivot out into those things is very, very useful. The nice thing about this set is it's very much just like a nice special wall. It completely walls Volcanion, which gave my team huge problems otherwise, and does big damage with a Thunderbolt, so that's good. Yeah, basically here to just soak up the special attacks, and it is still naturally bulky enough to take some physical attacks, but you don't necessarily want to be doing that all the time. Alright, so now going to Togekiss. So Togekiss is here, much more supportive this week, going with Roost, Heal Bell, Air Slash, Flamethrower for the Steel types, Air Slash just for general stab and being able to potentially flinch things. And yeah, we got the Babiri Berry, so that's to take potential steel hits from Scizor or Metagross, and then rocking with enough speed to outspeed max speed base 70s, so specifically Metagross and Volcanion. The max out the HP, and then the rest is in special attack. Okay, so now we get to the win cons. So we got Como here, rocking with Soundproof just in case he runs a special Mega Altaria, because Mega Altaria does get Hyper Voice. We don't want that going through sub. That would be very, very bad. And we got Sub Belly Drum here. The idea is, with Sub Belly Drum, Drain Punch is OHKOing anything that Iron Head is not. So he's got, like, basically Iron Head takes care of, at +6, Iron Head takes care of Altaria, it takes care of Hatterene. And then everything else other than max defense Mudsdale is taking serious damage from this Como. And basically EV'd to outspeed the Altaria, the Mega Altaria. Uh, and yeah, then put the rest in HP, and the leftovers is for making sure that if this is brought in early and sets up and breaks some things but then gets pressured out, that it kind of has some of the longevity and can come back and potentially set up again. So that's the thought. We'll see what happens. And then the last mon, the newest member of the team, we got Scarf Cortana. We've got enough speed to outspeed Scarf Mienshao. Fairly standard Cortana set. We're going Jolly with the previously mentioned speed, and then Leaf Blade Smart Strike for stab and knockoff and Sacred Sword. Leaf Blade hits incredibly hard. If we get a Beast Boost, it hits even harder. Like, that's kind of the nice thing about Scarf Cortana. As soon as it picks up a kill, it's just kind of unmanageable. It gets an attack boost, especially, yeah, like I said, Scarf Katana, especially. Like, if you don't have anything that's really outspeeding it, then it becomes a nightmare fast. The biggest thing is going to be getting rid of the Volcanion. If we get rid of the Volcanion, then this thing kind of just goes to work. I mean, Volcanion, and if he brings any of the Steel types, kind of getting rid of that would be ideal as well. But I mean, Metagross is weak to knockoff, so that's fine. But yeah, I'm really, really excited for this match. Clay and I have not battled in the past, so that should be fun. We're playing in a little under an hour, so I'll leave you with that. If you like the content, please like, subscribe. Also check out some of the other TBA content creators that I've linked in the description below. And I'll also link out to the ISL power rankings, which are actually the league that I run with a couple of other good friends of mine. Buddy Rick, who currently isn't in the league, did the power rankings, and they were absolutely phenomenal. So I'll actually drop his description drop his channel in the description below as well. Alright, well, I'll be back with the recap of the game, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so we are here with the match versus Clay. The team comp is actually a lot of what I expected. I really do think that both Como and Crobat put in a lot of work here. I wanted to lead with the Cortana, mostly because just looking at his team, I mean, Cortana hits Rotom, it hits the Mudsdale, it outspeeds because it's Scarf and hits the Mienshao. If he leads Drapion, I can always pivot out. But yeah, I think all in all, his team, and also it hits the Hatterene, but I don't know if it doesn't look like he's going hard Trick Room here, so I don't really expect the Hatterene to come in and try to do things early game. So, yeah. So let's get into this. I'll speed this up a little bit. So we've got Cortana lead versus Rotom Wash, and so my thinking here was if he is Willow Rindoberry, then I need to pop that ASAP. So I go for the Leaf Blade here. The better play probably would have been to go for a knockoff. At worst case, he does Willow me, but I have like both result could have ended in him Willowing. So I don't know. That's kind of my thought. But here, expecting the Bullet Punch, we go into Crobat. It eats that. That's not a problem. And I think he would expect the potential Heat Wave. But I've also brought like Super Fang, so he maybe wanted to get rid of that, or get that, like not get hit by that. So he goes into Drapion, and unfortunately we missed the Heat Wave. Which is unfortunate, but it happens. RNG is a thing. So here, go in, and I find out that he's Battle Armor. And so I'm thinking he might be a more bulky set at this point, and he goes for the Toxic Spikes. Now, 3 of my Mons are immune to Toxic Spikes, so it's not a huge deal. He does get the knockoff on the Eviolite, but that's okay, because we're not teleporting here. So go for the Ice Beam, and just to kind of see the damage. So he's definitely a bulkier, and he also reveals Black Sludge there, so again, definitely a bulkier Drapion. Goes for the Toxic Spikes, which is fine here to get a layer up, and we're actually going to teleport out because Crobat can set up on this thing. That was kind of my thought here. So Nasty Bat is about to put in some work, I'm thinking. So we go ahead, we get the Nasty Plot, and we're also, remember, we are Expert Belt, so unless he's Rindo, which we will find out right here, Nasty Bat OHKOs with Giga Drain. And sure enough, it does. He did forget about the fact that it learned Giga Drain, so that was good. And so now I'm thinking, wow, well, what are his switch-ins to Nasty Bat? Or what does he come in with? He comes in with Mian Chao, and this kind of all but confirms he is Scarved, and then, of course, he is, because he clicks the Stone Edge, but I knew with the HP investment that we were living that, and that Sludge Bomb was OHKOing, so we're good. We've gotten rid of 2 of the biggest threats on his team. The last one stopping a sweep is kind of Scizor. And so here I wanted to make sure that we actually preserved Crobat because it is still good against the Mudsdale and the Hatterene. So I go into Porygon here. And I think the right call actually would have been to go into Mega Banette there. Just because Porygon could have still been useful, especially against the Drapion. Hindsight's 2020, but I think going into the Banette there was probably the right call because then we Mega Evolve, and I think he would have switched out into Drapion because of the fact that he didn't want to be threatened with a potential Will-O-Wisp. And then we could have gotten some more chip on Drapion / tried to get some more momentum, but whatever. It is what it is. So we're just going to go ahead and end up sacking the Porygon here because I'm thinking, okay, let's get... And so he does reveal Superpower. So thinking, let's get the Como in. It can set up on this and go to work. And one of the biggest things with the Como was I thought about running Lumberry, but I opted for Leftovers, and I wish I would have went Lumberry. I think if I had Lumberry, then Como just sweeps here, but because I don't, we set up a sub here, which I think I should have just Belly Drummed because of the Toxic stall, like the Toxic turns and everything. But it's all good. We get the Belly Drum off, and I have Drain Punch, so it's not a huge deal. I think the only other thing I could have done was maybe have Close Combat there instead, and that would have OHKO'd, but then we would have died to Poison, so that was sort of the idea. It was like Drain Punch plus Leftovers gives Como significantly more longevity, and also allows it to potentially come off the field and then come back onto the field, but anyway, I think Lumberry was the bring, and bringing Leftovers was not the call. But again, it happens. Like I can't be too mad. Like that's a mistake on my prep. So yeah. So Mudsdale goes down, and again, that's another huge pickup, and Como putting in work as expected. And so the unfortunate thing here is now we are in range of Bullet Punch, and again, this was another situation where I probably could have just went into Banette, but I felt like Como was kind of the... At this point, Como wasn't necessarily needed. So we go into Togekiss here, thinking, okay, if he Bullet Punches, then we just Flamethrower. And so we do reveal that we have Flamethrower. In hindsight, I wish I would have went for an Air Slash there, just because the switch was kind of obvious, but again, I I had to go for the safe play there. And so now that Mudsdale's gone and we don't really want anything knocked off, I kind of just let Crobat lose its item. And now there's like a little bit of back and forth where I wish I would have clicked knockoff a couple of times, because I'm actually going to go into Cortana here. And I didn't expect, like, I wanted to cover for potential Hatterene coming in just in case. I didn't expect him to switch Hatterene in on Cortana, but maybe if he thought I was going to go for a double or something like that. But at this point, I should have been clicking knockoff with Cortana. So Banette comes in and takes the Bullet Punch reasonably well. We do Mega Evolve here, and he does bring in Drapion, so yeah, in hindsight, I don't know if Banette was the right call for the matchup, because Drapion just hard-walled it. And even if I had brought different moves, like, it honestly wasn't really, like, with the Toxic Spikes, Destiny Bond wasn't really a huge deal. So, I don't know. But I did expect him to go and click Poison Jab again, and I didn't know his last move, but Knockoff, Poison Jab were both okay at this point because Cortana's Scarf wasn't even needed. So we do click Knockoff there, we get the Black Sludge, and he knocks off. And the reason why he stayed in and knocked off was specifically because, we talked about it after the game, he wanted to make sure that Cortana was in range of Scizor. So again, there, I wish I would have clicked Knockoff. They would have knocked off the leftovers. Not that it would have done a ton of damage, but again, is what it is. So he Swords Dances here, which, again, was an obvious play. I kind of thought he was going to Swords Dance again, so I go for the Pain Split here. But he goes back into Drapion, which was the safe and correct call. Because if I got the chip on Scizor, that could have been really bad for him. And now Cortana comes in, and I think I click Sacred Sword here. Yeah, so Sacred Sword to get more damage. So yeah, I get the damage on the Scizor, which is good. And now Togekiss comes in, and he goes for the superpower. We 4x resist that, so it's not a problem. Now he has to switch out of Scizor. And so Air Slash is free here. So we go for it. So get the Air Slash off, and now go into Cortana, expecting that he is faster and Poison Jabs, which I don't actually know if he was faster. I don't think he was. He had a lot of investment in HP, and he had some attack investment. I assume he was faster than Togekiss, but I would have to ask. I can always go back and ask, but yeah, I assume that he did have enough investment to outspeed Togekiss, because he would obviously not want to get flinched with one of his Togekiss. He would not want one of his Togekiss answers to be flinched. So we go ahead, we get the boost with the Cortana, and now he goes into Hatterene. So click Smart Strike, because that's the right thing to do. And he's actually Babiri Berry, the one thing that I wish he wasn't, and he goes for the Trick Room as well. So great play by Clay. If he would have just clicked Mystical Fire, I think Togekiss would have been able to just clean up there, because we would have had Air Slash, and then we would have been able to just Flamethrower the Scizor. So yeah, he played this endgame incredibly well, getting up the Trick Room, and I don't think he expected me to have Roost, so I started stalling out the turns of Trick Room, which was great. And this next turn is where RNG like really was not on my side. So Air Slash, and we don't get the one flinch that we needed. So now he's Calm Minding up, and it's kind of just over. Like the 18% earlier was a roll, so would have had the opportunity to potentially get that, but yeah, the Trick Room kind of just messed us up at the end. And Cortana is going to go down here to the superpower from the Scizor, and that is the game. So, again, unfortunate. I think maybe I could have switched in the... when he Bullet Punched, I could have switched in the Cortana, and then but I think at that point, like, it would have just been mind games. Like, I could have switched in the Cortana, he would have went for Bullet Punch, and then that might have put me in range. I think that was actually the right call. That would have been the right call. If I would have switched in the... If I'd have switched in the Cortana, he would have went for the Bullet Punch. No, because he still would have... He would have been gaining leftovers back. So yeah, not knocking off the leftovers early game did come back to bite us a little bit. I think if we knocked off the leftovers, he wouldn't have recovered a few of the turns that he did. And then when he Bullet Punched, switching into Cortana to take the Bullet Punch would have been the right call. And then if he Bullet Punches again, I think he might have had Roost too. If he Bullet Punches again, then I think he could have just spammed Bullet Punch there though, and he would have won. Because I don't think Cortana would have taken one of them. It would have come down to, did he click Superpower against Cortana? Because if he clicked Superpower against Cortana with the drop plus the Berry, then he would not have been able to kill Togekiss, and even at the percentage that it was at, and then Cortana just wins. Or then Togekiss just wins, because the Berry procs. Because I think it was like minimum doing... With his attack investment, we did talk about this after the game. So with his attack investment and the Berry, with Technician, it was doing about 25%. And so that was definitely something that would have been... Yeah, it would have been interesting. I mean, could have tried to play the end game a little differently. I think, regardless, it was a great game. Couple of moments of RNG were unfortunate with the heat wave miss on the Drapion early game, the not getting the flinch on the Hatterene, but there was also a situation where, like, I think he like absolutely min-rolled, not that it would have mattered too much, but like he absolutely min-rolled on the Crobat with the Stone Edge. If he would have needed an absolute high roll to Oko. But yeah, all in all, great game. It was a lot of fun playing Clay. So we moved to 1-5, and again, our playoff hopes are almost completely out the door. I think at this point we need to win out, and we have to hope for some absolute madness. We'll see what happens. Got to keep the head up and keep going. I mean, gonna continue to give content. Gonna continue to try to win games, regardless of if we're in the playoffs, out of the playoffs. Just too much of a competitor to not do that. So, and again, everybody has bad seasons. We'll bounce back. That's the motto. So, all right. If you liked what you see, or if you liked what you saw, rather, and want to continue to see content, please like, subscribe, and catch you in the next video. Thanks.